everyone, Grumpy Gamer here again. I've got a bit of a different sort of video here. It's still along the lines of computers and that. Now this is Passmark CPU benchmarking software. You can do this for video cards, RAM, all sorts of stuff. Now what I'm going to see is I've got an old LGA 1366. This is server class hardware that you used to be able to buy back in the Series 1 i7 days, to give you how old it is. I'm going to try this one here and see if I can overclock it to run PlayerUnknown Battleground and see if we can get some benchmarks. And then I will try it with the server CPU. Now I'm going to try and overclock these to give them a little bit better chance. I know the server CPU will run it. I don't know about the i7. It only runs at clock speed up to 2.9 gigahertz. It's 4 threads. And then we'll try, this is pretty much the fastest CPU you can buy for this platform, and we'll see whether we get any difference in frame rates. I'll use exactly the same hardware as much as I can, same graphics card, same CPU. I'm going to give them 24 gig of RAM, and we'll see what happens. Let's see if the point is, if you have a slow processor like that you bought, that's all you could afford, and then some faster processors come available second hand, is it worth upgrading to get more frames per second for gaming? That is the question. Okay, now here's the hardware we're using. This is an extreme gaming motherboard. I use this as a display. If you've watched any of my other videos, you may see it on display. I don't normally use it. So what we're going to do, we're going to use these CPUs here to start with. There's the 920, I think you can read that. And this is a Xeon. This Xeon here, you used to be able to buy for $15 on eBay. So we're going to see whether you get more frames, and just bear with me. I'll pan slowly so I don't give everyone nausea. And then when I try, this is the same platform, it's just that it's all set up. I'm not going to strip it apart. I'll put the same video card. It's only going to run with 12 gig of RAM, but this is the X990 on Alienware motherboard. It's a bit of a cheat, but I don't really want to pull that motherboard. It's another display motherboard. I don't want to pull it apart just to change the CPUs, but it is the same platform. It's only an indication of whether the fastest CPU that you can buy for this platform is any better or for gaming. Okay, so I'll stick this together and we'll start off, like I said, we'll start off over here with the 920. I know this isn't relevant to everyone, but it's relevant in the fact that if you have a slow CPU and you upgrade it, will you get more frames per second with just your old hardware still? Yeah, hi everyone, this is the i7 920. It's got a bit of an overclock on it just to make it so it can run this game a little better. I'm not going to play the whole game. I'm just going to run a few things. You can see it's running at around the 115, 97. It's around that. There she is there. It's running pretty warm. Sitting around the 70-degree mark. It's pretty warm in here. I haven't got this set up, so yep, it's quite playable. This shouldn't be able to run on according to the specifications, but because it's an i7 and it's on a pretty good motherboard, it runs it with the overclock no problem at all. It's quite playable. I'll see how we go anyway. So there you have it. She's clocked up. She's about half a gigahertz overclock on it. There's not a lot I can do with it. The CPU is locked, but it's in the lobby. It's got a couple of hundred frames per second. The graphics are all on medium. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change it over. I'm going to put a 6-core Xeon and overclock it as much as I can, whatever it'll take, up to maybe 4 gigahertz if I can get it that far, and we'll see if the frame rate goes up. So we've got a bit of a baseline there. I don't know how to do the comparison and all that stuff on screen. It'll just be a basic video on it. Okay, now I've got the 6-core Xeon in there. Its base clock's only 2.67 gigahertz. So I'll give it a little bit of a overclock. She's running pretty cool. She's running, 40, 50 degree mark. Even under load, she doesn't go much over 60 degrees. And there's a bit of the proof in the pudding there. Okay, it's not brilliant by today's standards, but still it'll play most games. It clocks up, if you have a look there, that's compared on the benchmark against a i7 6700K. Alright, it's not a fantastically fast CPU by today's standards, but it's still quite okay for probably 90% of the games out there. And she's a bit slow on the single core, but she still scores a bit higher on the multi-core. And what we'll do is we'll boot up PlayerUnknown Battleground, which is my go-to sort of benchmark game. There's a whole heap of other games there, but I've just downloaded this just for this video, so I'm not going to put 10 games on the computer just to do one video. It's just to give you an idea of, are more cores better? Can you put a $15 Xeon CPU, which is what this has, that 5650 Xeon Socket 1366, you can buy them for $15. This isn't the greatest motherboard, although it's supposed to be an extreme and rah. To be quite honest, it's not the greatest overclocked motherboard. I've got motherboards that this CPU will run happy at 4.2, 4.3 gigahertz all day, every day. I got several of the CPUs because I had them in motherboards. And the game takes a little while to load. She's Series 1 i7 equivalent. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's clocking up at a Series 6 i7. I don't think that's too bad. If you're on a real tight budget, you can still buy these motherboards. In this game, as you can see, it's quite playable. She's got 2011 frames per second there. Okay, she's dropped back to 6 FPS. 300. Okay, we're getting 106, 113, 106, 112. So everything's the same. As all I changed was the CPU, and it reckons it needs an app now that it didn't need earlier. Okay, I'll install the app and we'll see if it runs any better. Yeah, well, there you have it. It's not overly conclusive, but it was much smoother with the 2 extra cores. She did get a bit hot, but it's not in the case. It hasn't got proper cooling. It's just got a fan sitting over the top of it. This room gets pretty hot when I'm recording because I've got to close the door. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, that $15 CPU that's running in this computer right now is way faster than the 4-core. 8 thread, this is 6 core, 12 thread. Both CPUs were on this same motherboard, and that other CPU, it was getting close to being maxed out, and so there was a bit of a bottleneck there, and that ran really nice. I actually got 3 kills in that game. I was doing so well. Yeah. Oh well, that's pretty much it for this video. Catch you next time. Grumpy Gamer signing out.